the very important aspect of National Education Policy 2020, or you can say, or we can say, National New Education Policy 2020, in which these types of things are mentioned, and we are exploring very sincerely all these things. Now, we were waiting for the moment to hear the views of our chief guest, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Chanakya National Law University, Honorable Justice Mridula Mishra. So I would like to welcome and request to ma'am to please come here and share her views on this issue. Thank you.
A very good morning to all of you. OS Pro-VC, Patna University, Professor Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh, Director UGC HRDC, Dr. Atul Aditya Pandey, Yogendra Barmanji, faculty members of the Patna Law College, and the faculties of different universities, different colleges who have come here to attend this refresher course. I welcome all of you. We know that, so far I am concerned, my introduction has been given. I am an alumni of this Patna Law College. I can say that in my life, I have never done anything which has been planned. Every incident has taken place unplanned, in an unplanned manner. And I think that God is my planner. He plans for everything for me. I got married at the age of 15 when I was a student of matriculation. I was not knowing whether I would continue my study or it will come to end at that stage. But the family where I came after my marriage, that was the family of educationists. My father-in-law was the High Court judge at that time, Justice Satish Chandra Mishra. He was a known scholar of law, history, philosophy and everything. And this was my good luck that I came in that family, got an opportunity to be educated. I graduated in economics with economics honors, and my planning was that I will do the postgraduate course in economics, and thereafter I will not do anything. I will sit in the house as a housewife. That was the plan. But destiny has planned something else for me, and without my knowledge, my husband got me admitted in the law college. So I studied law. That was unplanned. And so destiny played a very bad game with me. My husband died, a premature death. And then I decided to join the practice, which I never thought that I would do, but I did. Thereafter I joined this practice, this law practice. And since I didn't have any other thing to do, I dedicated myself completely to the practice of law. And by God's grace, everything went on smoothly. I was elevated. After retirement, I became the chairman of the Bihar Land Tribunal. That was offered to me by the Chief Minister. And then I was never interested in academics, but how I became the Vice Chancellor of the Chanakya National Law University, that is also unknown to me. So one day suddenly the Chief Justice Patna High Court called me that we want that you should join as the Vice Chancellor of the university. I refused. I said, no, I don't have any experience of academics. I can't do this. He said that you are the only person who can manage everything at this stage at Chanakya National Law University. And we will be there to help you if you need any help. And finally this was also unplanned, and I became the Vice Chancellor of the Chanakya National University. Today's refresher course, I said that refresher course, just he said, the Vice Pro Vice Chancellor said that the refresher course means that you have to refresh your knowledge time and again. That is, when you do anything continuously, regularly, any knowledge, if you have gained, but you stop refreshing that, then that knowledge becomes like a mirror over which there is a layer of dust. So this, you have to clean that dust every time, because the reason is that the knowledge is not static. There is every day something is going on in every field. Maybe any line, history, geography, psychology, law, medicine, engineering. So it is not that what you have learned or we have learned at this time of our being a student, that the things have stopped there. It is continuously growing. So with this growth, we all also have to grow. And when we are a teacher, then it becomes very much essential, because what you will know, what you will gain, that only you will convey to your students. And who are those students? Students who are the asset of this country, any nation. As the standard of education, if we will not grow time with the time, then we will never be developed. So this is very essential, and this is the necessity of the refresher course. And just now it has been said that refresher course is also necessary for promotion. Earlier, as a judge, I used to look into these matters. Now, as a Vice Chancellor, I have personal experience that how much it is necessary for this career progression, for your merit promotion, your everything. What you have done, besides being the teacher, what further you have gained during your this educational, this academic career, that becomes very essential. And for that, this refresher course have. I think that these are very important, very essential, and it is essential for your growth also, and for the growth of the institution where you are working. And now this 2020 National Education Policy, that has the multidisciplinary aspect has been introduced. No one can say that I know only this much and I don't have any knowledge so far the other aspects are concerned. And this is the reason that the professor of law is doing this refresher course in human rights. From a field of history, geography, psychology, everyone I said they are joining here. And this is a very good sign, because one has to be jack of all trade, and I can't say master of none, master of one. Jack of all trade and master of one. That is absolute. So far, the human rights is concerned, the refresher course for which you have come to attend. We know that what is human rights? Human rights are the natural rights. When we take birth as a human being, then it is not necessary that someone will give this right to us. These are the inherent rights. As a human being, we have taken birth. We have right to live. We have right to progress. We have right to be educated. We have right of equality. We have right of protection. And we have so many rights. And as the time passes, with the passage of the time, new rights, there are some other rights which were not there in existence. Those rights are also coming. So what are human rights? Human rights, we can say, that are the natural rights. And that these rights are we can claim being the human being. So you can say that I can say that you will see in the old religious books, you will find that everywhere मानवीय गुणों का जो है सो उल्लेख है. And what is said, who is the person who can be said to be the knowledgeable? Atmavat sarvabhuteshu yas pastyati sa pandita. Human rights means if I feel that I have the hunger and I need a food, then I have to think about others also. Because same right is available to him or her also. So for human rights, we don't only have to claim the human rights, we will have to be the protector of the human rights for others also. And human rights as this legal protection that was provided to everyone in the world after the Charter of the Human Rights Declaration in 1948. After the Second World War, all countries in the world, they have witnessed such great suffering of humanity. Then it was decided that we should have to do something so that in future we will not going to destroy all those peaceful life of the humanity on the earth. And that was the reason that the charter was proclaimed as the Declaration of Human Rights on 10th December 1948. So we are one day ahead of that declaration day, but on the eve of the Human Rights Day, we are celebrating it. So it was said that there was a long list of the Charter of Human Rights, and in that every aspect, whatever they could think, that was enumerated there, and that was given the protection of law. That was why protection of law. If there is a human right, then why? Because in every person there are two instincts, a godly instinct and the beastly instincts. Sometimes it happens that our godly instinct that is lowered down by the beastly instincts. And that instinct, what they do, they destroy the peace, tranquility, happiness, progress, development of this universe. And to protect those beastly instincts, this charter was proclaimed and it was given the strength of the law. We can, if anyone's right is taken away, we can go before an authority and can say that yes, this was my right, but it has been taken away by someone. The countries can go to the United Nations if their rights, being a sovereign country, their right is infringed by some other country, then they can go to there. And so far we are being the citizen of a country. India is a sovereign country, and being the citizen of the country, we can go for our rights before the court of law. And there are also Human Rights Act also, Human Rights Commission, National Commission, State Commission, everything is there. And there is a long list of fundamental rights in our constitution. What are those fundamental rights? Those fundamental rights are, I think, that been influenced by the human rights. Whatever were the chapter 3 of the constitution, which where these fundamental rights are given, there you will find that if you compare the charter of the Human Rights Declaration and the fundamental right which has been given to under the chapter 3 of the Constitution, you will find that inspiration has been taken from that only. Yes, the expression human right is the recent origin emerging from the end of Second World War. As I have said, but it is not that only after Second World War these human rights have been given. human rights were there, already there. When this, जब सृष्टि को भगवान ने बनाया, at that since that time we have got human rights, but the safety has been provided after the Second World War, when this United Nations have declared this Charter of the Human Rights. So far, right of equality, we can say that is there in the Charter. Right of equality so far the men and women are concerned. I must say that even after the fundamental rights, even after the Charter of human rights, still now I cannot say that there is in reality equality in between the man and women. I will explain my experience when I joined practice of law. So I have said that in what situation I joined the practice. Everyone was very sympathetic to me that in such circumstances he has joined the profession. When my case was called in the court, I used to be very apprehensive initially, but there were so many male advocate brothers. They used to prompting me that you have to say this, you have to say this. They didn't believe in me. They don't have faith in me that I can place my case before the court in the same efficient manner as they can do. For some time I tolerated it, but subsequently I said, please stop. If I am going to lose my case, let me lose my case. Don't help me. So I can prove myself. You must treat me equal to you. So equality is very essential for everyone, but it is very much essential so far the men and women are concerned. But for that, we have to change the mindset. Law is there. Equality before law is there. So far the Constitution is concerned, the Constitution has given some privileges to the women. In some cases, they were given some privileges. Despite this, the equality which is needed for the women and the opportunities which is needed for the women, somewhere it is not, I think most welcome, is being welcomed. And so far now we have proved ourselves. After so many difficulties or hurdles, some women are able to prove themselves. There are but many women, they can't do anything. For them, the society has to do, the institutions have to do, the constitution is there, the authorities are there, but what is most essential, that is changing mindset of the people living in the society. That is very necessity, and that has to be done. So nearly 75 years ago in the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, women's rights were enshrined as fundamental right of women. These rights included right to be educated, right to own property, right to work, right to earn a free and fair equal wages, but still equal wages are not being given to the women. They are considered that they can't do their work so efficiently and the same quantity as the women can do. So when the human rights is concerned in India, in our constitution, just now I have said that chapter 3 of the constitution, we have the fundamental rights which are influenced by the human rights, and the constitution of Article 21. Just I wanted to say that there are so many fundamental rights, but the fundamental rights which has, I think that expanded the scope of fundamental rights, that is Article 21. Article 21 has been analyzed, interpreted, and emanated by the Supreme Court in so many ways. Now, all those things which were there in the directive principle of the Constitution, that has become this fundamental right, and those are considered, because those are considered as the human rights. It has considered that if these provisions are not there, if these opportunities are not provided to any person, that person cannot develop. That person's development will be, that growth will be, I think that will be stopped. So in so many decisions, some of the decisions which I just want to say that our Apex Court has been expanding over the decades the dimensions of Article 21, that is right to life and personal liberty. In F.C. Maling versus the Administrative Union Territory of Delhi and others, Justice Bhagwati observed, we think that the right to life includes the right to live with human dignity and all that goes with it, namely the bare necessities of life, such as adequate nutrition. These are considered as the bare necessities. Adequate nutrition, clothing and shelter and facilities for reading, writing and expressing oneself in diverse forms, freely moving about and mixing and mingling with fellow human beings. Every act which offends against or impairs human dignity would constitute deprivation to tanto of this right to life, and it would have to be in accordance with reasonable, fair and just procedures established by law, which stands the test of other fundamental rights. The expression life doesn't mean animal existence. It means right to life guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution. It means that life with dignity. Animal existence does not mean that you have the right to life. Right to life is expanding its horizon day and with the passage of the time. Today it includes all that is necessary for the development of a person, including his tradition, his culture, heritage, protection from the heritage, and the full measure would have certainly come within the encompass of expanded concept of Article 21 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court has done this, and we must thank the Supreme Court that whatever rights we had, that right has been expanded, and everything is being enumerated, illustrated, and we have so much of, we can now claim with right that the right to education was not there. It has been under Article 21, the Supreme Court has analyzed it. Now we can claim, so far the child of 6 to 14 years of age, they can claim as a fundamental right so what is right to privacy? We couldn't, as earlier, could have claimed right to privacy, but right to privacy has also been included in the fundamental rights, and these fundamental rights means what? They are human rights. Human rights, any person who is a human being, if he want to exist on this earth, if he want to do something in his lifetime, if he want to grow, if he want a peaceful life, if he want a life of equality and honor and everything, then for that there is the necessity of protection of human rights, and that is in the form of the fundamental right that has been in our Constitution. So Patna University and this University Exam Commission's HRDC, this human rights course is being conducted, this refresher course, and as informed that several other refresher courses will be done, will be organized in future, and this is a very good step, I think, that, and so far the Chanakya National Law University is concerned, I would request Mr. Pandey that he can also do some refresher course so far in Chanakya National Law University is concerned. So I'm really very happy to see that the young teachers, they are so enthusiastic. They are so, this future, they are considering about their future and the future of their institutions, their society, and they are doing everything at the time of this pandemic. Fearlessly, they have come here and assembled here, and I wish all of you a very good future. I wish that you should, so far the refresher course is concerned, you all come out with a good grade, and the experience which you will gain here, that you will be able to utilize while teaching your students and where you are working. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Chanakya National Law University, and an alumni of this prestigious 100 years old Patna Law College, has said about her destiny. Ma'am, with my folded hands, and we all admit this point that destiny always follows the merit. And dear participants, along with me and my colleagues, have got a very good class on human rights. So your first class has already started. At the end, I'd like to request the Dean Faculty of Law, Dr. Vani Bhushan ji, so please come for the vote of thanks.
मेरे लिए सौभाग्य की बात है कि आज के इस महत्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रम में मुझे धन्यवाद वोट ऑफ थैंक्स देने के लिए UGC HRDC के तत्वाधान में यह रिफ्रेशर कोर्स आयोजित की जा रही है और यह महत्वपूर्ण कार्य पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ लॉ को कोऑर्डिनेट करने के लिए। जो ह्यूमन राइट्स है एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण वैश्विक कंसेप्ट संकल्पना है और इसकी जो चर्चा है मानव सभ्यता बिल ऑफ राइट्स मैग्ना कार्टा से लेकर के अब के जो युग है जिसमें ऐसी विजनेसिया और ये जो कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी है जिसपे अभी साहब ने बताया कि ये कार्बन जो न्यूट्रलिटी है उसको अचीव करने के लिए प्रयास किया जाता है। ये सारे जो ह्यूमन जो राइट्स है उसके आयाम में संकेत है। उस पर बहुत सारे इम्पोर्टेंट जो लेक्चर है रिसोर्स पर्सन है आयोजित की जाएगी। इस कार्यक्रम में मुख्य अतिथि के तौर पे माननीय श्रीमती मृदुला मिश्रा, रिस्पेक्टेड वाइस चांसलर चाणक्य नेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी, हम लोगों के बीच उपस्थित हैं। उन्होंने ह्यूमन राइट्स जो इशू है उस पर जो प्रोफेशनल जो करिकुलम जो डेवलपमेंट है जो कॉलेज टीचर्स और जो यूनिवर्सिटी टीचर्स हैं उनके लिए आज तो एक महत्वपूर्ण एक व्याख्यान माला ही होगी जिसमें ह्यूमन राइट्स के जो महत्वपूर्ण आयाम है जिसके संदर्भ में मैडम ने बहुत ही गंभीर रूप से चर्चा की और कैसे ह्यूमन राइट्स केवल प्रतिभागी के लिए जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं उनके लिए आवश्यक नहीं है, जबकि ये एक संवेदनशील इशू है, विषय है जो कि हर एक मानव के लिए आवश्यक है, जिसके संदर्भ में चर्चा है। मैडम, मैं अपनी ओर से और UGC HRDC पटना विश्वविद्यालय की ओर से मैं आपके प्रति धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूँ कि आप इस महत्वपूर्ण व्यस्तम क्षण में आकर के जो मानव अधिकार है उसके महत्व, हमारे जो प्रतिभागी जो इसमें भाग लेने आए हैं उनके उत्साहवर्धन और इस कार्यक्रम की आप शोभा बढ़ाई है, जिसके लिए मैं हृदय से अपनी बात करता हूँ। प्रोफेसर अतुल आदित्य पांडे सर UGC HRDC के निदेशक के तौर पर प्रतिष्ठापित है। आपके द्वारा यह महत्वपूर्ण जो UGC एकेडमिक UGC HRDC जो सेंटर है उसके माध्यम से पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ लॉ को यह महत्वपूर्ण जवाबदेही दिया है और बहुत ही जो महत्वपूर्ण जो विषय है जिसपे मानव अधिकार इस विषय पे आपके द्वारा यह कार्यक्रम का जो प्रावधान किया गया है, जो कि विधि संकाय के बहुत सारे जो प्रतिभागी जो शिक्षक हैं और भी जो फैकल्टी के जो टीचर्स हैं उससे लाभान्वित होंगे और स्वाभाविक है वो एथिकली जो सोसाइटी में एक टॉर्च बियर के रूप में काम करते हैं उनके लिए यह महत्वपूर्ण जो कार्यक्रम है बहुत ही योगदान और बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण होगा। इसके साथ साथ जो टीचर्स है उनके लिए जो ह्यूमन राइट के इशू हैं, जो ये नॉलेज है, जो कैसे फ्रेश और करेक्ट रहेंगे, कैसे जो ह्यूमन राइट के इशू है उसके जो गैप है उनको फुलफिल करने में यह कार्यक्रम महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दे सकेगा। इसके लिए आपके प्रति भी हम अपनी ओर से और विधि संकाय की ओर से आपके प्रति मैं धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूँ। प्रोफेसर अजय कुमार सिंह, आदरणीय वाइस चांसलर, डिस्टिंग्विश्ड साइंटिस्ट हम लोगों के बीच में उपस्थित है। सर ने भी वैज्ञानिक तरीके से मानवाधिकार और उसकी चर्चा पे विशेष बल दिया। सर के प्रति भी हम बहुत आभारी हैं कि आप सर इस महत्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रम में आपने बहुत ही अपने मूल्यवान क्षण लेकर के हम सब लोगों के प्रति आशीर्वचन और हमारे प्रतिभागी के बीच में उत्साहवर्धन का काम किया है। उसके लिए भी हम आपके प्रति सर अपनी संवेदना, अपनी कृतज्ञता प्रकट करते हैं। सर आपको भी सर धन्यवाद देते हैं। हम लोगों के बीच प्रोफेसर रविंद्र कुमार सर, सीनियर फैकल्टी मेंबर, पूर्व कुल सचिव पटना विश्वविद्यालय, सीनियर फैकल्टी मेंबर्स उपस्थित है, डिप्टी डायरेक्टर यूजीसी एकेडमिक HRDC सेंटर सहित सर उपस्थित है। हम आपके प्रति भी आभार प्रकट करते हैं कि आप इस कार्यक्रम में आए और इस कार्यक्रम की आप शुभकामनाएं दें। इसके साथ ही यह जो कार्यक्रम है महत्वपूर्ण रूप से जो कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी टीचर्स है, जो इन सर्विस है, उनके लिए ये आयोजित की जाती है। यह यूजीसी जो HRDC है, इस कार्यक्रम को रखने के पीछे यही उद्देश्य है कि कंटिन्यूअस जो प्रोफेशनल जो स्किल्स है उसको कैसे डेवलप किया जा सके, कैसे जो नॉलेज है उसको फ्रेश और करेक्ट रखा जा सके, कैसे जो पीयर्स जो टीचर्स हैं उनके बीच में म्यूचुअली इंटरेक्शन एस्टेब्लिश किया जाए और कैसे आप वार्म अप होकर के फिर से आप क्लास में जा सके और जो डिसिमिनेशन ऑफ नॉलेज है उसको इफेक्टिवली आप कैसे इम्पार्ट कर सके, इसके लिए ये कार्यक्रम रखा हुआ है। आप सब विभिन्न अलग अलग डिसिप्लिन से आप आए हैं, आपके प्रति भी मैं अपनी धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करता हूँ कि आप सब इसमें आए हैं। इसके साथ साथ हमारे विधि संकाय के जो सपोर्टिव स्टाफ है वो भी अपनी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका अदा कर रहे हैं इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में। इसके साथ साथ हमारे रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स भी यहाँ उपस्थित है, हमारे फैकल्टी मेंबर्स भी इसमें प्रतिभागी हैं। आप सब लोगों के प्रति मेरा स्नेह और आभार है। और उसके साथ साथ प्रिंट और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया के हमारे साथी भी आप यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। आप भी इस कार्यक्रम की जो मीडिया कवरेज ले रहे हैं और समाज में इस बात को आप विस्तारित रूप से रखेंगे कि यह कार्यक्रम कैसे समाज के प्रति अपनी जो भूमिका है वो अदा करेगी और किस प्रकार से शिक्षक वो डिसिमिनेशन ऑफ नॉलेज जो कि टीचर्स का एक महत्वपूर्ण जो ड्यूटी है सोसाइटी के प्रति उसको भी अदा करने में ये महत्वपूर्ण जो कार्यक्रम है महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाएगी। इसको भी हम प्रकाशित करेंगे। इसके लिए भी आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप सभी को धन्यवाद।